Hi there. So we have a few folks who've already joined us. Appreciate you all making time. Today is going to be our second informational webinar about the Vets Index's Employer Award Survey. We're going to wait maybe another minute or so for additional folks to come in, and we'll probably get started just about 2:01, maybe 2:02. Okay, it's 2:01 right now. I will get things started. Want to be respectful of everyone's time. I will also mention we plan to share this recording of this session on our website. So anything that you may miss, you'll be able to catch up on there. And you'll also be able to download the slide deck that we're going to walk you through as well. So if any of your colleagues might like to review this, they will have the opportunity. Thank you all so much. Appreciate you for joining us. This is going to be about a 1 hour webinar. Will take probably 30 minutes to run through this presentation, and then we'll leave as much time as needed on the end to answer any questions you all have. So let's get things started. Here's a look at what we're going to cover on today's agenda. I will start with some quick introductions of both ourselves as individuals and Vets Indexes. We'll give you an overview of the Employer Awards program, show you our awardees from 2023, talk through a bunch of the benefits of participating, including some ancillary programs that Vets Indexes runs that could be very helpful to you, the Veteran Employment Benchmarking Service and the Employing U.S. Vets Conference. Then my colleague Eric will walk you through some survey sections and update some details on taking the survey. And we'll wrap it up with some shortcuts, tips, and advice, and of course, any and all questions. You all should have the ability to ask questions starting right now. To ask a question, please just put it into the chat or the Q&A box. And what I'll do is once we're through the presentation, I will just answer everybody's questions. So starting with a disclaimer, legal disclaimer, I should mention, I know this is a lot of text and is rather dense to be looking at on a webinar slide deck, but importantly, this same disclaimer language exists on our survey as well. So you can review it there for anything you can't, might miss here. And of course, we'll also post our slide deck, so you'll be able to review this there as well. With that, let's get some introductions. I know there are some folks on today's webinar who've worked with us in the past and know us, but for the benefit of the folks that do not, and I'm glad to see we have a few newcomers this time, thought it might be helpful to introduce ourselves. So I am George Altman. I am the president of Vets Indexes. I've been with the organization since 2020 and have been working closely with the organization as an outside partner since even before that. Joining me today is Eric Hitchings, Vets Indexes DoD Skillbridge Fellow. And I have to say, if your organization is not signed up for the Skillbridge program, you absolutely should. It's an amazing program where DoD essentially gives your company an intern, still active duty military, but on their way transitioning out. So DoD, foots the bill and gives you a chance gives both the company a chance to see if the individual is a fit and the service member a chance to see if the company's a fit. And working with Eric over the past few months, has been amazing. I could not recommend the program more strongly. We have personally benefited Vets Indexes from the DoD SkillBridge program, so strong recommendation there. Eric will be speaking momentarily in a few slides. But let's, now that we've introduced ourselves, let's introduce Vets Indexes as an organization. So there's basically four primary things we do. We have, of course, the item that we're here today to talk about, our Vets Indexes Employer Awards. And we'll get into a lot more detail on that soon. We also have the Veteran Employment Benchmarking Service. This is our newest initiative, and it's one of the ones that I'm most excited about. We've created really an incredibly detailed and comprehensive analysis of employers' veteran-related policies, practices, and outcomes that really lets you see what your organization is doing in the context of what other organizations are doing. We'll have a lot more details on that soon. Next is the Employing U.S. Vets Conference. That is a twice-yearly conference that has very quickly become, kind of the leader in the space on sharing best practices related to veteran employment. We have an amazing lineup already underway for our next conference, which will be in April. We'll give you more details about that a little later in the webinar as well. And then finally, our last initiative are our indexes of publicly traded companies. If you have ever wondered, why are they called Vets Indexes? What does that mean? This is why. We have indexes of publicly traded companies that have established themselves as the best employers of veterans. And I'm going to, with this next slide, go into a little more detail on our indexes, just because I want to give you a little more information about this, but also it's something that really isn't all that closely related to the main thing we're here to talk about today, the employer awards. So we'll just kind of let you know what this is about and move on. But our basic theory going in was that veterans represent incredibly talented, yet underappreciated, undervalued human resources, and that the organizations that kind of best leverage that talent pool will ultimately see the benefit show up in their bottom line. So because of that, based on that, we came up with tracking indexes that now use our Vets Indexes Employer Award Survey that we're here today to talk about to determine who are the best organizations at employing veterans, who belongs in this index. So that is the tie to the Vets Indexes Employer Awards program. And you can see the performance details and history here. Suffice to say, without getting too deep into the weeds, the dark blue line is the performance of VetsX, our flagship index. The light blue line is the performance of the S&P 500, very common financial benchmark. And you can see, indeed, our thesis has been confirmed based on the performance. The organizations that are the best veteran employers really do see the benefit in their bottom lines. So this is the one thing that Vets Indexes does that is limited by organization type. Obviously, our indexes are only applicable to publicly traded companies because otherwise it wouldn't be possible to run an index. Very important for me to emphasize, everything else that we're going to talk about from this point forward is not only open to, but designed to, fairly and equally include organizations of all kinds, ranging from, the world's largest multinational corporations to your local county sheriff's office down the street. So that's our indexes. If you are interested in learning more, we have more information here, vetsindexes.com/indexes-vetsx. But with that, let's get to kind of the heart of why we're here today, to discuss the Vets Indexes Employer Awards program. So, top level, our objective with this program is to evaluate organizations' efforts related to basically all aspects of employing veterans and the military-connected community. As I emphasized on the last slide, but is worth emphasizing once again, this is open to organizations of all types and sizes. And all types and sizes of organizations can and do win our top level awards. So yes, publicly traded companies, also privately held companies, government agencies, departments, law enforcement agencies are very common respondents, nonprofits, colleges, universities. Bottom line, if your organization is focused on veteran employment, this program is absolutely for you. Now, there are different programs out there that try to evaluate veteran employers similar to how we do, but they take different approaches. Some are more kind of written. They ask you to write a paragraph about how much your company loves veterans, and depending on which paragraphs whoever's judging them likes the most, then you get an award of, one stripe or another. Uh, for us, that that isn't the approach we think kind of yields the best actionable apples to apples comparisons for organizations and for the veterans kind of relying on these evaluations to make their employment decisions. We think you're a lot better off focusing on numbers, on hard data to make fair apples to apples comparisons between different organization types. So that's the approach we take in the survey. It is very data focused and takes a very objective rather than subjective approach. We have been so gratified to see the enormous surge in interest in the Vets Index's Employer Awards program. The number of organizations participating doubled between 2022 and 2023, slightly better than doubled actually. And right now, we're about a month away from the deadline for the 2024 awards, and we're already on track to easily outpace our, much larger total from 2023. So this is an amazingly fast-growing program. Really excited to see the surge of interest, and hope that you all can participate. Finally, the last kind of most important point I want to make about this, and this is something you will hear me mention again because it's very important. It is essential to us at Vets Indexes that we are conducting this program with the highest integrity. And unfortunately, some other actors in the space have, I think, unfortunately taken a pay-to-play approach with some of their awards programs, where in order to get an award or in order to be able to display the logo associated with that award, or maybe even in order to just be evaluated, you have to give the evaluating organization money. For us, we think that's a clear ethical line in the sand that we just cannot cross. We think it's very important that the Vets Index's Employer Awards are only ever earned based on what organizations do for veterans. They can't ever be bought based on companies giving us money. And so that's something that is a hard line in the sand that we absolutely will stick on. So we've talked a little about the program. I've given you kind of a good overview of the important things to know. I'm sure one of the things you're wondering is, okay, sounds okay, who is participating? So I want to give you all a look at our 2023 Employer Award results. We recognized 200 different organizations with awards across one of the following four award levels. 5-star employer, you see the logo for that here. 4-star employer, 3-star employer, and recognized employer. What I'd like to do now is show you, don't have time to show you all of the awardees with 200 organizations being included in that total, but I do want to give you a look at our most highly rated employers, 5-star employers, just so you can see the diversity and range of companies within that group. And obviously, as I slowly scroll down this list, you're seeing a lot of organizations that are household names that you've heard of before, that your grandma's heard of before, that everybody knows. But you're also seeing alongside those a lot of smaller organizations you may not have heard of, and government agencies, local sheriff's offices. I think this, just looking at our 2023 5-star awardees, I think kind of demonstrates that this really is a program where we are evenly and fairly evaluating, the Orange County Sheriff's Office, just the county sheriff's office, alongside one of the world's largest financial institutions, UBS. And anyone can win our top award. It's really a question of what you do for veterans and not what type of organization are you. So one last note here. I mentioned our 4 different award levels. Important also to emphasize that not every organization that submits a survey will ultimately receive an award. It's important to us that the Vets Index's employer awards really designate organizations that are going above and beyond, that are positively differentiating themselves in the veteran employment space. And in order for the awards to mean that, we can't just give a participation trophy to everyone who submits a survey, regardless of what the survey says. You have to, kind of positively differentiate yourselves from the competition. That being said, very important to emphasize that the organizations that submit surveys but ultimately are not recognized for the awards, we do not name or identify in any way. We do not and would not publish a list of those organizations. And essentially, were your organization to participate in the 2024 awards, submit a survey, but ultimately not be recognized with an award, what we would say publicly about your organization is exactly the same thing we would say publicly if you didn't participate in the survey, which is absolutely nothing. We make no public mention. And, there's, based on that, there's really no reputational risk to participating. Either you get recognized with an award, or we just don't make a public mention. So let's talk about some of the costs and drawbacks that any organization has to evaluate when deciding, is this program I want to participate in? First of these is something that I mentioned before, actual financial cost. Is there any cost associated with any part of this program? Short answer is no, absolutely not. This entire program is completely demonetized. There's no cost to register, to receive a survey, to fill out and submit your survey, to have your survey evaluated, to be recognized with an award, or most importantly, there is no cost, no licensing fee, no charges of any kind for using the award logo associated with your award level on any sort of communications you want, be them internal, external, marketing, advertising, recruiting. When you earn the logo, it's yours to use free of charge, however you want. Obviously, financial cost isn't the only cost to consider. You also have to think about man hours. How long is this going to take? Everyone's schedules are busy these days, ours certainly included. We want to be respectful of your time and not waste anyone's time. So we've designed the survey to be as short and dynamic as possible, basically gathering all the important information we need, but doing so in a way that kind of doesn't ask you questions that are irrelevant, just skips over questions that don't apply to your organization automatically, and structured in a way where we're just trying to not waste anybody's time. So this is a survey that organizations can complete from start to finish in a few hours, and should not be an enormous time suck for you. Finally, confidentiality. We are asking for a lot of information in the survey, detailed information, numbers that a lot of organizations would feel uncomfortable if that data were released publicly. They view it as proprietary. They don't want their competitors to see it. We completely understand that, and we think that's fair. So based on that, and because of that, there are really only 3 pieces of information about your organization that we will publish from your survey. Number 1, the name of your organization. Number 2, the logo for your organization. Number 3, your organization's award level. That is it, nothing else. We also, I should mention, regularly sign non-disclosure agreements with organizations that would like what I just said, established in writing, established as a contract. We are more than happy to sign those. We do not want that to be any sort of an obstacle to your organization participating. And again, as I mentioned on the previous screen, should your organization ultimately not be recognized with an award level, we won't publish any information about your organization's participation. The only people who will know that your organization submitted a survey but didn't get an award are you and your colleagues who worked on the survey response for your organization and our small team at VETS. That's it. So we talked through some of the costs, some of the potential drawbacks associated with these types of award programs. Let's talk about the benefits. So the benefits, obviously, a lot of them are going to fall in the recruiting area and also kind of public recognition. So first, I think a lot of this starts, and this is, I think, a reason why some of our competitors have started to charge licensing fees for using these logos. It all starts with these logos. These are essentially seals of approval that tell transitioning veterans that your organization is one that prioritizes employing veterans and knows what they're doing. Just being able to slap this logo on your recruiting materials can definitely make a big difference for you. This logo is provided, again, completely free of charge, no fees, no restrictions whatsoever to all awardees. And alongside that logo, we also send you custom news releases that you can, send to your media contacts that, specifically lay out and name in the news release your organization's award level, has a few quotes in there, can really help get the conversation going. That's one piece of the pie. The other piece of this pie are the screenshots that you're seeing here. We've been very gratified to get a good amount of coverage from a wide variety of media outlets. You see us appearing on Fox Business, CNBC, which actually highlighted the names of some of our awardees from a recent competition, employer awards competition, as well as military-specific outlets, military.com, Stars and Stripes. Bottom line, it's important and worthwhile in and of itself for its own reasons to be a good employer of veterans. But it's also good to get word out that you are that. And that's something that we can help with as kind of an objective third-party organization that will evaluate what you're doing in the space, award you appropriately, and you can then point to, this isn't our own analysis that says we're a good veteran employer. This outside third party came to that conclusion. So good to get the public recognition. So in addition to everything kind of directly tied to the awards program itself that we've just talked through, are participating in the Vets Index's Employer Awards survey, submitting a survey, will open up the door for you to participate in a few other related initiatives that we have at Vets Indexes. And I'm going to talk about two of those right now. The first is our Veteran Employment Benchmarking Service. So basically, you may have remembered I said at the outset, talking about confidentiality, the only thing that we'll publish about your organization is your organization's name, logo, award level. But I also said before that we are asking for a good amount of detailed data as part of the survey. What both of those things are true. What that kind of left us with was all of this data in the middle that we weren't publishing, we will not publish, but is tremendously valuable and worthwhile, explaining what all sorts of organizations are doing related to veteran employment in all sorts of different ways. So what we did, rather than just kind of leave that on the cutting room floor, is we developed the Veteran Employment Benchmarking Service using that data. So at a top level, the way this works is we take your organization and we usually use a kind of red circle that you see here to indicate your organization. And then we benchmark you across three different comparative averages. Our overall average, which is the average among organizations of all types responding to our survey, regardless of any other factors. Peer group comparison, which is organizations of similar size and structure as your own. And finally, our five-star comparison, which is the average among our most highly rated organizations, five-star employers. So we can provide this benchmarking both at a summary level, covering kind of our five main evaluation categories, and in granular question by question, even sub-question by sub-question detail. So you can really dig into details to see how you compare. So, what you're seeing here, just to kind of talk you through one particular example, this is from question 4.9 in our survey, which focuses on the proportion of internal promotions that went to military-connected employees. And what you're seeing here just reflects sample data, made up, doesn't reflect your organization or anyone else's. But the sample data, shows for 2022 how, this fictitious organization would compare to, again, the peer group, the overall respondents, and the five-star average. Important also to emphasize, we have developed 5 years, up to 5 years, and soon to be 6 years of longitudinal tracking. So you can see not just where we stand right now, which is this view, but what has our trend line been over the past several years. So, were this your organization, even as you may be a little disappointed to be below all of the other averages here, this upward trend definitely would show that you're headed in the right direction. Honestly, I could talk about our benchmarking service and nothing else for the next hour or so, and would still have more to say. Suffice to say, there's a lot of detail we can provide here, and this I view as one of the best benefits of participating in the Employer Award Survey. The other very important related initiative is our Employing US Vets Conference. So this is a twice yearly conference where the idea is bringing together all of the thought leaders in the veteran employment space, whether they come from, big companies that employ a lot of veterans, or government regulators or nonprofit agencies that have advice to give, or nonprofits, just organizations of all types, the best experts we gather twice a year for our conference. This conference, similar to the survey, we have been just extremely grateful and humbled at the surge in interest. For our last conference that we had in October, more than 2,500 people signed up for that. And they represented more than 1,500 different organizations, incredible numbers. Our next conference is going to be in April. It's going to be in person in New York City, though we will have virtual tickets available for anyone who can't make it in person. We do have sponsorship opportunities available. If that's something you're interested in, I definitely would recommend you reach out sooner rather than later to info@vetsindexes.com. Our sponsorships are limited, and especially for the spring conference, they tend to go very quickly. So please reach out about that. If you are ready to register and get your tickets for that, this is the link to do so, employingus.com/register. But I mentioned previously that this is kind of related to the VetsIndexes Employer Award Survey, and this last bullet explains that tie-in. Any organization, every organization that submits a completed survey response will receive a single complimentary ticket to participate or to join us in person at the New York City Athletic Club for the Employing US Vets Conference. Those tickets, can be fairly pricey. Holding an event at an amazing venue like the New York Athletic Club comes with some decent overhead for both venue and food. So we have to recoup that, hence the ticket cost, but we are happy to waive that for all organizations that submit a survey. And we've already started to put together a great agenda for the April conference. You can see our keynote speaker here. I could not be more excited about, I think, just the perfect person to speak to this conference, Michael Miller. He works at the U.S. Department of Defense and directs the Military Civilian Transition Office. So he's a person in a fantastic position to tell organizations of all types interested in recruiting veterans important information they need to know. We've also started to lay out some of our panel topics that we expect to include, and you can see those here. So it's looking like it's going to be a great, great conference. Hope to see you all there. With that, I'm going to hand things off to my colleague, Eric, who's going to give you some next steps for if you are ready to get started on your survey.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. So the most important thing is going to be your unique link. That should have been emailed to you from myself or one of my colleagues from a vetsindexes.com domain. If you're not in receipt of that unique link, you can email myself or George, or you could email the survey at vetsindexes.com email, and we'll get that to us, and then we'll get you your unique link as soon as we can. Your blank survey PDF. You can get that in the link that you see there. That'll have all the questions that we have in our survey. We highly recommend you go through that, amalgamate all the data you can get through that blank survey, and then fill it out online. And then we have our fact sheet. If you have any questions about our survey, you can go to that link there, and that'll answer most of your questions. And you could also reach out to myself or George. And then the deadline is going to be February 16th, 2024. We would prefer that you can get it in by the 16th, but it's very workable. So we can elongate that a week, maybe 10 days. But again, please try to get that in by the 16th. About your unique link, please keep that within your organization. That's connected to your organization, so please keep it to within that. And then we have 5 survey sections, starting with recruiting and hiring, ending with military spouse and family support. This is all related to our evaluation categories. And then new this year, the questions remain largely unchanged, but if you answered last year, it's all going to be advanced to 2024. So 2023 answers will be to 2024. And then if there's any questions or unclear things within those questions, we have expanded explanations and links to clear them up. And then if you have any questions about the methodology, we have our link there. And then for tips and tricks, definitely utilize the blank survey. Again, all of our questions are there in advance, and you can collect the data before you go into your unique link to fill it out. Your answers save automatically. So if you keep your unique link within your organization, you can email that unique link to whoever is helping you fill out the survey, and it'll save automatically while they help you. I mean, you could fill it out over multiple situations because of that. And then there's real-time validation. So if you answer one question and then you answer another that doesn't really make sense to the previous one, the survey should let you know. And then your last year's questions should also be uploaded to 2024. And then again, if you don't have your link, please get in contact with us and we can get you yours.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Eric. Really appreciate that. Again, I'm going to just repeat the last thing that Eric said because it is crucially important. The one most important thing, if you want to participate, the key to participating is you need to have a unique link to the survey. So if you don't have that, just shoot me an email, survey at vetsindexes.com. It'll land right in my inbox, and I will get you a survey link just as soon as I possibly can. With that being said, I want to give everybody some advice for how to kind of get the best award level that your organization can based on what you're doing for veterans. Obviously, everyone wants to present their organization in the best light possible. And from our perspective at Vets Indexes, we want to be making our evaluations based on, good data and as kind of complete and accurate information as we possibly can. So based on that, some pieces of advice, number one to start is provide as much information as you can. This is a fairly detailed survey. And to be perfectly honest, our goal in establishing the survey was to advance the state of the art when it comes to veteran employment data. If you're trying to advance the state of the art when it comes to data, that necessarily means you're asking questions that not all organizations are currently tracking because you're kind of pushing things a little further. That is absolutely the case for us. So on that subject, please don't be alarmed as you're running into survey questions where we're asking for data that you all just don't track. Probably every single organization responding to this year's survey is going to have to leave at least one or two questions or sub-questions blank because they don't have the data. It's not something to worry about, and the fact that you needed to have skipped 1, 2, 3, 4 questions in the survey, that will not in any way prevent you from, being recognized with an award, including a higher level award. Of course, the more information you can provide, the better, but basically everyone has to skip questions. That's okay. That being said, when you're skipping questions, please do make a note of those questions that you don't have the data for, and then work with your HR information systems folks to see what you can do to establish tracking so that next year you can report that data. So that is the first part. Next, it's very, very important that you're very carefully reading the survey instructions, kind of following the suggested structure and guidance that the survey gives you, and answering all parts of survey questions, not just some. Some organizations will come in and answer only, the veteran-related parts of questions, but not answer the overall numbers. Unfortunately, we need those overall numbers to compare to the veteran numbers so we have context. So very important that you're answering everything you possibly can in the survey, including, different sub-questions within the same question. Now, when you've gone all the way through the survey and you reach the last page, the very last page of the survey will say at the top of it, this is the last page of the survey. If you want to submit the survey, hit the forward pointing arrow at the bottom of this page. If you want to go back and edit your responses, hit the backward pointing arrow at the bottom of this page. Lower down on that page, we have a readback of every single answer your organization provided throughout the survey. Absolutely essential that when you reach this page, you carefully read through all of your responses and you make sure that they are, number one, as accurate as possible. Everything is reported as you intended it to be. And number two, as complete as possible. You've answered every question that you can. If you need to make further edits at that point, again, you'll be able to, the same as you could before, but you'll have to just hit that back button at the bottom of the page a few times to get back to the question that you wanted to edit. Once you hit that forward button on that final page that reads back your answers, your survey is then officially submitted. Last but not least, and honestly, if there's one big takeaway I want you all to leave today's webinar with, it is this. Please ask us for help. A challenge for us at Vets Indexes is we needed to design a survey so that it, worked and made sense for everyone from, again, the world's largest multinational corporations to local county sheriff's offices down the street. And within that wide gulf of organizations we have, different organizations are going to have different definitions for the same terms, different ways of kind of understanding the same things. So it's all but inevitable that as you're filling out the survey, you're going to run into questions where we're asking, does your organization do X? And maybe you guys do Y, and it's pretty close, but you're not sure if you should count it. As you run into those situations, what I want you to do is to reach out to us directly. Again, survey@vetsindexes.com. Send any question you have over there, and we are always happy to help. So I see we already have a couple of questions that have come in over chat. I'm going to get to those in just a moment. Please do, if you have any questions in mind that you'd like me to answer, throw them in the chat as soon as you can, and I will get to them. If you do have questions, but you'd really rather not ask them in the semi-public forum of a webinar, completely understand that. Just shoot me an email, same address as before, survey@vetsindexes.com, and we will get that answered. And meanwhile, you can see, again, the information for our next conference, which is going to be April 11th in New York City. So with that, seeing two questions so far. First from Wendy, will the presentation be emailed out for reference? Yes, indeed it will. We will send, next week I think is more likely than this week. Probably next week we will send out a link that will include both the recording of today's presentation as well as the slide deck that I'm using. Next question I'm seeing is from Michael. Is the comparison against your industry or based on your size? That is an excellent question, Michael. The answer to that question is, as the benchmarking platform is currently set up, our benchmarking is only based on organization size. It is not based on industry. We would like to, we've been thinking about and would like to expand the peer group comparison so that, you know, we can get some view of industry. As part of that, the reason we haven't yet, honestly, also is related to the data confidentiality issues that we talked about before. It is absolutely essential to us that when we promise an organization we're going to keep their data confidential, we really do. And the challenge with kind of doing industry-specific peer groups is those tend to be kind of much smaller, much more focused groups of organizations than the kind of larger, more expansive size-based peer groups. And further complicating the matter is the fact that not every organization that, that organizations are not able to answer every question. So I would not want to be in the middle of a benchmarking session and get to a question where within an industry-specific peer group, there was only two or maybe even just one other organizations within that peer group who answered that question, whose data we were showing, because then in essence, even though we wouldn't be naming that other organization, we would be showing, you know, an individual organization's individual data to a different organization, which would be very bad news and, you know, kind of violating our confidentiality pledges, which we will not do. I will add that, you know, our ability to do those industry specific peer groups is very much related to how many people, how many organizations are responding to the survey. So if we continue with the growth rates that we've seen, it is entirely possible that, you know, next year, or heck, maybe even in just a few months, maybe even just later this year, we may be able to add industry-specific peer groups. Again, for now, we do not have industry-specific peer groups as part of this. Any other questions? I'm still only seeing those two. Okay, looks like that is it. I will again leave you all with my the email survey@vetsindexes.com. Any sort of follow-up, anything you need, just send something to that address and we will get back to you quick. You know, appreciate you all taking time and hope you have a great rest of your day. And I certainly hope that you all are able to participate in the 2024 Vets Index's Employer Awards. As Eric did a good job of emphasizing, while the deadline for that is February 16th, we do have some flexibility with that deadline. And bottom line, we don't want the deadline to be an obstacle for you all participating. So if that is a concern for you, just reach out and we will work with you as best as we possibly can to extend the deadline out to a point where you can participate this year. Again, thank you all so much for your time, and hope you have a great rest of your day.